The Home Pros Radio Show.
I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections, and this is the Home Pros Radio Show podcast. Our air conditioning systems work hard to keep our homes comfortable in the midst of the summer heat, oftentimes without us even knowing it. But as soon as it goes down, it grabs our attention rather quickly, and usually it happens right when we need it. To help you avoid that situation, we figured it might help to discuss some of the basics on how our air conditioning systems work and review some simple items that you can monitor on your system in order to keep dibs on how it's performing. Shane and I welcome in the experts at Carolina Heating Service as we help you keep your air conditioning system running right.
Let's bring in Connie Caldwell and Mike Helms from Carolina Heating Service. Yeah, so we've been talking about things that folks need to... you know what? Hold on. Scout's interrupting us. I think Patrick from Shelby is ready. Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm actually going through an AC issue as we speak.
Oh, awesome.
Not
awesome.
Not really.
I mean, for the show, I guess.
That's probably what the service guy thought when he came to my house. I'll give you a brief little history, and that is the house was built in 98. I'm the original owner. And back in 2010, the whole unit grenaded on me, okay? So I had a guy come out. He said, oh, yeah, you need a new unit, blah, blah, blah. It would be like, yeah, it was about $4,000 or whatever it was I paid. So I said, okay, great. Not really, but, you got to do what you got to do. So he put a whole new unit in. Well, last year I started having a couple of issues with it, and but it was just a fan blower. So we replaced it. But the guy said, by the way, this is a 2003 unit you have in here. I says, no way. I put a brand new one in 2010. He says, no, you didn't. He showed me the number on it. He said, the guy didn't do you right, He probably had bought a whole bunch of these at one time, was trying to get rid of them. Of course, that guy is no longer in existence. So, needless to say, the AC didn't come on. We called the warranty company. They sent a guy out this morning. He said, you have a massive leak somewhere, and the warranty company says you got to pay for the leak because they won't pay for a leak test. I'm like, well, if you know and he says the evaporator coils. And he said, well, if you know where it is and we know what it's done, then what's the purpose of doing a leak, You got to do it or else the warranty company won't do it. I said, okay. So I pay him the $200. Well, my wife did. I'm 300 miles away. So my question is this. Are they going to want me to just replace the evaporator coil on an old unit or the whole unit, or should I, if that's what they want me to do, should I just forget them and buy a new system? Not that I'm Nelson Rockefeller, but
Yeah.
The average life expectancy of any HVAC system is between 14 and 15 years. So you are past your average life expectancy. So why throw money into something that's already past its time?
Good Makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I'm waiting back to hear from them what they're going to do. I don't know if the whole warranty thing is really just a scam that, you know what I mean, that they run, and if it's not really applicable to do it, because I don't want to just keep, it's like patching holes on an old boat, you know what I mean?
I see what you mean. Yeah, and they're probably doing the leak test just for their own paper trail to determine whether or not they've gone through the proper process to determine if there is a leak and where it is. But even so, you're getting to that age.
If it's R22, I mean, why try to patch that? You can go ahead and elaborate on that if you want to.
And that's a reference to the refrigerant used.
I wouldn't put a whole lot of, money into replacing a part that the refrigerant's no longer going to be used.
Well, the other part I had was if I do get a new unit, it's a small house. It's only 1,250 square feet. So what size would you recommend?
Sizing depends on so many different factors. The amount of insulation in the home, the design of the floor plan, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm. You would have to do a load calculation on your home to actually determine the proper size equipment for your home.
And usually in residential settings, you're looking at 1 to 5 tons, depending on the square footage of the house and everything. I would think that you'd be on the lower end of that with the square footage that you're talking about with your house there, Patrick.
Yeah, it's just a small house, and I'm on a slab also.
Okay.
So, all right, well, I appreciate it. I enjoy the show every week, and thanks for taking my call.
Thanks
for listening.
Thank you for the call, Patrick. And that's a really good way of leading into this whole topic that we have about talking about cooling systems and all that good stuff. Sizing is something that I get that question as a home inspector a lot. Do you think it's the right size? And I'm like, well, you know what? There's so much to figuring that out. Calculations as far as what kind of windows you have, how much insulation you have, how much sun hits the house on any given day. So we're talking about our AC systems today. Let's start with the basics. How does our air conditioning system work in our house? We've got our condenser unit outside. We're gonna keep it as as I always like to...
Explain this to me like I'm a 2-year-old, okay? Because there's an element to this thing I just cannot get through my thick head.
Yep, and we're going to help Denzel figure this out, and me. So we have our condenser unit outside, typically. If we have what's called a split system, and then we have an air handler in the attic or the crawl space. How do these units create cool air for us on a basic level?
Yeah, through those components, it absorbs heat in your home and transfers it to the outside.
Okay.
Which is your condensing unit.
And what it does is it circulates the refrigerant, which we were talking about earlier, between your air handler and the coils on that, kind of like the coils on the back of your refrigerator. Correct. And then it goes out to your condenser unit that has a compressor that compresses the gas down into a more dense liquid, which the byproduct of that is cold temperatures. Just like when we change the state of a gas or a liquid, generally speaking, what happens is you get a change in temperature too. So we compress that gas down, that refrigerant, send that compressed refrigerant back into the air handler where it's cold, and we blow our interior air over it. And that's how that cold air transfers into our house, right? So how does a condenser work? We got the condenser out there. We know there's a fan. So it has coils in it as well.
That's correct.
All right. The fan is blowing air through the condenser unit to help pull that warm air out and blow it up.
Well, it pulls air across the coils to take the heat from those coils out the fan.
And that's basically the process that's going on with your condenser unit. Now, we've been talking about how to maintain our AC systems. What are some of the things that a homeowner might need to know or look at when they go walk around the house and they see their condenser unit outside? What are some of the things that they need to know in order to make sure that it's working properly?
A couple of important things would be to make sure that the condenser unit's level, and also to make sure you got proper clearance around it.
We don't want it to be starved for air. We're moving air through the cooling fins and everything out there.
Absolutely right.
And I had one house that I did this week that had the bushes growing up into the fins, and I'm like,
that's probably something that needs to be taken care of.
Stuff. I mean, It's easy stuff that a homeowner can control. Sometimes I've seen it where decks are built over these things,
right? And
they don't. Homeowner does something. You got to have what's the clearance that you want to maintain? Would you say
you want about a 2-foot clearance? Around your unit
on all sides.
On all sides.
Gotcha.
And why is it important for the condenser to be level?
The condensing unit inside the compressor has oil in there. It needs that oil inside the unit to flow properly. And if it's unlevel, it won't do it.
You might have to.
It can also decrease the efficiency of your equipment.
Yeah. And then everything in that fan unit is designed to work in a circular motion. It's like having a ceiling fan that's not level. It can throw everything off. We were talking air conditioning with Connie Caldwell and Mike Helms from Carolina Heating Service. Connie is the general manager, and Mike Helms, you're the installation manager. We were talking about the condenser unit and what we have to do to maintain that. And then, of course, that condenser unit, as it's circulating the refrigerant through your system, it's working in concert with your air handler that has coils in it. That cold refrigerant is helping the coils transfer those cold temperatures into your home. Now, with that unit, whether it's in our attic or our crawl space, what are some of the things that homeowners have to keep in mind with that as far as maintaining it? A lot of times a filter location is there, right?
Correct. You can have the filter location at the furnace or air handler. It's very important as a homeowner to keep those filters clean year-round.
Yeah, because a lot of times what happens is if we don't change our filters regularly, the inside of that air handler gets dirty, the coils get dirty, and then what happens?
It can lead to clogged drain lines or bad indoor air quality.
There was a video that we shared last week, air sealing your home and what a blower door test and everything looks like. And the technician goes to the HVAC system. He pulled out the filter and he hit it against the wall and just dust went everywhere. That can really wreak havoc. Whenever we're cooling air, folks, whenever temperatures are dropping, we naturally get condensation and we get that moisture. And then our HVAC systems are designed to carry that moisture away. And actually, that leads us to
the RIC Home Inspections photo from the field.
What are you looking at? I know what I'm doing.
Did you see that?
That's right. Go to our Facebook page. You'll see this drain line coming out of this house's eave. And a lot of folks I see when I'm doing inspections don't know what that drain line is for. Well, that's connected to your HVAC system, and that is what's called the emergency drain line. We're talking about creating condensation is made in our air handler, and that condensation has to be taken outside. We don't want it hanging around, especially in our attic. The air handler has a drain line attached to it that should be run to, usually it's run outside to where our condenser is located. So if we're mowing the grass or something, if we look over at our condenser unit, we might see a little 3/4 inch PVC line that's dripping water. That's normal. If that drain line gets clogged, what do we get? We get leakage at the air handler. And if the system's in our attic, we could have a mess if we don't have the proper features installed, including a drip pan underneath that air handler and an emergency drain. Tell us what the emergency drain line is and what it does and how that's related to this picture that we shared.
Emergency drain line's hooked to your drain pan, and it goes out over a soffit or over a window where it can visibly be seen by a homeowner. And it's there to let the homeowner know that they're having a problem with their drainage.
So it's there by design. What I'll see a lot of times, folks, you can drive down the street and you look at homes, and sometimes you'll see where a homeowner has taken that drain line and routed it to their gutter or their downspout or something like that, when actually the system's telling you, hey, something's wrong, or something needs to be fixed. Knowing the purpose of that drain line is important.
Yeah, a lot of times things are put in certain locations for reasons, and people think aesthetically they need to move them and put them in some other place so it doesn't look as bad. But basically, that's there. So if you see water dripping from it, you know you got a problem, period. I mean, you want to see it if there's a problem. And
folks out there who have that photo from the field in front of you, you'll notice that it's installed over a window, and that's done by design. A lot of times I see these these emergency drain lines plumbed to areas that they shouldn't be. Like, I've seen it where they route it directly into their main drain line, which is not a good idea.
Defeats the purpose.
The idea is to keep them separate, so we know if this one leaks, it's normal, but if the other one leaks, we need to call Carolina Heating Service.
That's correct.
And then we'll see it where they're routed to a plumbing vent in an attic or something like that. Nope. Wrong answer. We don't want to do that.
Quick question just came over on
Facebook.
On the Facebook. It says from one of my homeowner clients, I'm selling my house and the home inspector tested the heating and cooling at the same time. My husband says that can harm the system. Is that true?
It really determines what the ambient temperature outside is. If you put a heat pump in the heating mode and it's 95 degrees outside, you could do a little bit of harm to it. It's just according to what the ambient temperature is.
Yeah. And then generally speaking, you can do them both, especially this time of year. It's mild enough. Usually you don't want to check the air conditioning if the ambient temperature outside is less than 60-something degrees, then vice versa, like you said. Yep. But even so, even when you're doing them both, you want to give it, especially with a heat pump, at least 15, 20 minutes before you run one or the other, just to let everything settle down.
That's correct.
Yeah, so there is a process involved in order for it to be done right.
Special thanks to Scott Kelly with Carolina Heating Service for allowing Connie Caldwell and Mike Helms to join us in the studio. For more information on your air conditioning system, we invite you to visit their website at carolinaheating.com or give them a call toll-free at 800-261-0359. Our crash course would not be complete without covering a little bit about the history of air conditioning. Plus, what was life like before we had the luxury of central air conditioning? How do we even survive? For this, we put our producer Paul Lindsay on the spot with the Home Pros Radio Show Trivia Challenge. Let's see how we do.
We're going to have fun with our Home Pros Radio Show Trivia Challenge.
The Home Pros Radio Show Trivia Challenge.
Okay, so what we have here is a collection of questions that are designed to teach us a little bit about the history of air conditioning systems. So we're going to have some fun, and we're going to learn something. All right? Ready, Paul? Here we go.
Here we go.
The question number 1. The first central air conditioning system was designed and created in what year? These are going to be multiple choice. 1863, during the Civil War, 1902, 1941, or 1989?
I would say 1941.
And you are? So close.
You were so close.
It's actually 1902 was when it was developed. It wasn't until right after World War II that they were popular in homes, that air conditioning systems were regularly being installed. It was in 1902 when the first system was constructed. Now, who's credited with the development of that first residential air conditioning system? Ready? This is also a multiple choice.
Here we go.
A, Willis Carrier. B, Annie Lennox. C, Thomas the Train. Or D, Scott Kelly.
I would say Lennox. Lennox, possibly.
No, actually, Annie Lennox is the lead singer of the Eurythmics.
Okay.
So they.
I've just heard of I've heard of Lennox systems. So hey,
Well,
why
we've heard
not?
of Train too, Thomas the Train. But actually, the answer is Willis Carrier. Air conditioning was designed to improve the manufacturing process in a printing plant in Brooklyn, New York. Carrier's invention helped control the humidity. He was trying to control the humidity for the printing presses in the building. And it ended up creating a system where they could actually control the temperature as well. So that's what happened. Because of that, it spun off into the Carrier Air Conditioning Company of America. Residential sales exploded in the 1950s, and that's when they became an official company. Now, early on, air conditioning systems were primarily used for climate control for practical reasons, like I mentioned, in printing plants, textile mills. Also, the addition of central air conditioning to this type of venue made them very popular hangouts during the Great Depression. Which one of these became a very popular hangout thanks to air conditioning? A, banks. B, speakeasies. C, movie theaters. Or D, hardware stores. Which one would it be? Yeah, where would it be there?
How about A?
A, banks. Well, it was the Great Depression, so not a whole lot of people were hanging out in the banks.
Oh, you're not doing too good.
No.
Actually, the correct answer would be movie theaters. Yeah, silly. What is it? Why did the bad guys talk like that back then? They were like, yeah, come here, you smart aleck. I'm going to come over here and smack you across the face.
I thought everybody talked like that.
Yeah? Is that how they talk about it?
Groucho Marx, didn't he talk like that?
Yeah.
And he wasn't a bad guy, was
But
he?
you know who else did? Is the Three Stooges.
Maybe just everybody
Those
talked
guys
like
are
that.
scary.
It was that period.
All right. The first private home to have air conditioning installed was built. Did I give you the answer? It was movie theaters, by the way.
Yeah, you did.
You did.
That's why. That has a lot to do with the reason why movies are popular during the summer, because we
go in there and
we
get
got in
cooled
the
down.
habit of going there to get cooled down during summer, and then that tradition stuck.
Yeah.
That's why summer is a big time for movies. That and the fact that kids aren't in school. The first private home to have air conditioning installed was built in what city? A, Buffalo, New York. B, Minneapolis, Minnesota. C, Atlanta, Georgia. Or D, Hell, Michigan.
I would say Atlanta, Georgia.
That would make sense.
Way to go.
Because it's further south.
Either that or Hell, Michigan.
Yeah, but that's further north,
Yeah.
actually.
But you are incorrect. Wow, we're not doing very well, are we?
I thought he was right that time.
No, the answer
I
is Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Really?
it was. Minneapolis, 1914. The house was owned by Charles Gates. He was the grandfather of Bill Gates. No, that's not true. Yeah, Minneapolis, Minnesota was where you would think.
You would think Atlanta.
Well, Buffalo,
Yeah,
New York
further
was thrown
south.
in there since that's where Mr. Carrier was from. But yeah, you'd think you would need it in Hell, Michigan.
Yeah.
It's actually, I was checking the weather this morning. It's actually snowing in Hell right now. Did you know that?
And they said it wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
yeah.
Last question. Some architectural features that we previously used in homes to stay cool before we had air conditioning systems. A, high ceilings. B, thick stone or brick outer walls. C, large front porches. Or D, all of the above.
I would have to say all of the above.
All right.
All
right. We did it. We got one. We got one.
I'm glad we were able to close on a positive note there with the Home Pros Radio Show Trivia Challenge. Still, we learned a few things, and that's what really matters. To keep learning, make sure to subscribe to the Home Pros Radio Show podcast by simply hitting the subscribe button on your device. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date on the latest topics we're covering on the show. You can find us on both Facebook and Twitter at Home Pros Radio. Also, don't hesitate to share your feedback on the show to let us know how you think we're doing by leaving us a review. That will also help expand our ability to reach out to homeowners just like you who are eager to learn. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time on the Home Pros Radio Show podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Home Pros Radio Show. If you have a question for the Home Pros, visit us online at homeprosradio.com, where you can contact us directly. and also learn more about the topics and guests we bring to you each week. It's the Home Pros Radio Show online at homeprosradio.com or on the radio at 94.5 WGTK, The Answer.